My name is Jason Ryle. I'm the Executive Director of Imaginative, and welcome to Cinema 6. I think this is the first time we're actually using this particular cinema for an event at the Lightbox, so I really appreciate you making your way up here. I know it's a little difficult to get up to this floor, but thank you so much. We're very pleased this year to have our international spotlight on Sami. If you were there last night, I mentioned that we've had Sami working the festival since day one, and it's really remarkable how in the last 5 years this body of work has grown and diversified and has really made a mark on international cinema, including indigenous cinema. We have 4 programs this year as part of the Sami Spotlight, in addition to 2 short films playing as part of the Tradewinds International Program on Saturday, so please stick around for those. The Sami Spotlight 2, the Pathfinder, is playing after this program this afternoon here in the Lightbox. I want to acknowledge our presenting sponsor, the festival presenting sponsor, Bell Media. Also want to acknowledge our sponsors for the Sami Spotlight this year, who's the Ontario Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Sport, the embassies of Norway, Sweden and Finland, and a huge thank you to the Sami Parliament, and also to the International Sami Film Institute for all the support that they've given us in terms of this program. We have 2 special guests. The catalog says that Lisa Holmberg is going to be here as part of this IndigiTALKs. The role of Lisa Holmberg is going to be played by Jorma Lehtela today. Lisa couldn't make it, unfortunately, but we're very happy that Jorma has stepped in to assist Anna-Laila. Both Anna-Laila and Jorma have been great friends of the festival and champions of Sami work for decades. And it's such a pleasure to have both of them here today and here throughout the festival. IndigiTALKs is a presentation series that we started a couple of years ago to really, the intent was to kind of create these TED Talk style presentations, video essays by curators, programmers, community members, artists who really wanted to explore certain areas of indigenous cinema that really sort of haven't been heavily explored. Not necessarily fringe areas, but entertaining ones, insightful ones, areas that academics may not have yet touched or film critics may not yet have explored. So I will introduce Anna-Laila Utsi and Jorma Lehtela, who can introduce themselves more wholesomely. And thank you again so much for coming, and I hope you enjoy the presentation.
Hello everybody. My name is Anna-Laila Utsi, as Jason said here. I am the director of the International Sami Film Institute, which is in Sami in the northern part of Norway. Yeah.
And I'm the artistic director of the Skapmakos Film Festival in Inari, which is the Finnish part of Sami. Yeah, we are two years older than Imaginative, but not as big, because we are working in such an isolated place down there, 300 kilometers above the Arctic Circle. So yeah, coming after.
So thank you for coming. Me and Jorma, we are going to try at least to make a travel to the Sami film history. So dramaturgically starting from the very beginning with the early films about the Sami people, maybe not made by the Samis themselves. So you could say that the Sami film you can divide it into categories. It's the films made by the outsiders, and then it's like in the later years, it's the films made by ourselves. So this is like the journey we want to take you through. So Jorma will start with the beginning.
Yes, because we are a little bit short of time here, so we have to concentrate some places. So we decided that we are trying to concentrate to two female characters in the film. One was created by the outsiders in the 50s, and then second one was created by a Sami filmmaker last year. So we're trying to see if there's any improvement happened during these 60 years. And actually, I was prepared to tell you something more about the variety of the Sami types in the Scandinavian film, but we have such little time, so I thought we could. We could show you some clips without sound, so you can get you some idea with different kinds of types that you can meet in Scandinavian films from all the way from the 20s, and I will concentrate to one specific film called The White Reindeer in 1950 and 50s. So if we can get some our screens open, so we can put this film running.
Somebody was, but I don't
They
know.
were sitting there, you can sit there.
Let's see, our technique. Should we just?
We need a picture.
It's okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we start from the 1920s. But I will start from about the White Reindeer film. That is our main theme today. So the White Reindeer was made in 1952, and it was the first Finnish film that received international awards. First in Cannes Festival in France, and a few years later it won the Golden Globe in Hollywood. So it's a sort of Finnish classic film. And it depends how you want to see it, because if you watch it as a film, it's a great film. It's a beautiful black and white film, because the director of the film, Erik Blomberg, was a cinematographer who had studied in Germany and certainly know the difference between lights and shadows. And also, if you think about the soundtrack of film, it was exceptional, because Einar Englund, who was a classical composer, got free hands to make the music for the film. And he composed orchestral suite especially for this film, and later went on and also won international prizes for this music. So it's quite interesting combination. But of course, if you are watching the film from the Sami perspective, then you can soon recognize that it's all but accurate, beginning from the frame story of the film. We have a rich and vivid story tradition in Sami culture. We have metamorphosis stories, so the man can turn him or herself to an animal or vice versa. And we have stories about reindeers and other animals. But we don't have this kind of white reindeer vampire story that is happening in these films that we will later see some bites of it. So to me, this white reindeer film is a continuation to the old stories that has been told for centuries about Lapland and Samis. The European travelers, scientists and artists and even royal family members were traveling widely in Lapland, and they're telling these amazing stories about this cold and dark and very far north place, which was full of sorcery and other frightening things. So the magic has always been there, and Sami shamans especially were very famous. They have a strong reputation as a sorcerers. So for example, if you read the Finnish national epos Kalevala, you will soon learn that that the most powerful shamans, they were living in Lapland. So if you want to learn the most powerful words and charms, you have to go to Lapland to learn them. So the tradition was very strong, and the white reindeer is just a part of this big chain of these stories made in the 1950s. This story briefly goes like following: the young sensual Sami woman Pirita gets married with Sami guy Aslak. But Aslak happens to be a reindeer herder, and he's always on the mountains herding his reindeers. And when he gets back home, he can't satisfy his wife. So even that the film was made in the 50s, the driving power in the story is its sexual frustration of this wife. So she's ready to take any means that she can to get love and attention from the men. So we could make a sample now and see some of clips of that film, if take number 14. Sound.
This one. This one.
Yeah, that's. So at first Pirita is going to meet this Sami shaman to get good advice. And as you will see, the Sami shaman has some quite stereotypical features that might be familiar to other indigenous peoples too.
Päivä. Tiesin sinun tulevan. Lemmenjuoma? Vai lemmenjuoma? Sitähän ne nuoret naiset ja vanhatkin. Mies tunturitsa. Kyllä salkunilla keinottaa. Yrttejän 10 tunturin takaa 10 puron varrelta hieman kalman multaa 10 hirvaan hiveksiä 10 hirvaan voimat Salkunilla on sellainen tietäjä, kadonneet porotkin kotiin toimittaa. Salkunilla on suuri tietäjä, vainajatkin nostattaa. Ensimmäinen elollinen olento, joka tulee vastaan kotiin palatessasi. Silloin ei mikään poromies voi sinua vastustaa. Vielä tänä talvena sinä Jatka. Kata suurelle seidalle ensimmäinen elollinen olento. Elollinen olento.
Kirriitta, hei! Ota kiinni! Oli sinua ikävä. Tulin kotona käväisemään.
And now that she have this advice, she's ready to take the final step. So to me, in this film, it's not just about Lapland and Samis, because I see the reflections of Finnish or maybe Western society right after the World Wars, when the family values were important and sort of passive and humble women were appreciated. They were just making their work in families. And in the middle of this conservative world, you have this kind of new kind of woman who is strong and independent, and who has her own needs and a strong will to fulfill her dreams. So of course, these kind of ladies in that kind of world, they were witches, and they usually don't have a very happy future, as you can imagine. So the whole community is already hammering spears, because cold iron is the only thing that can stop this devilish woman there. And her tragedy is that she's now at the point that she can't reverse the magic. So she's stuck in her magic, and I wish I could promise you a happy end, but as you can see.
Yeah. Go back to menu.
Yeah.
takaisin paikan. Päästä minut toituudesta. Kuule minua. Kuule. Päästä minut. Päästä. Päästä minut. Päästä.
So maybe the teaching of the film is that women should know her place. But summa summarum, years ago when I began to study and I even wrote a book about Sami image in Scandinavian film, I began to think that would it be possible that still today these old and strong and repeated images are still haunting somewhere in people's subconscious. And it can be dangerous if these people are politicians in the South who are making big decisions and laws concerning the Sami area and Sami culture. For example, in Finland, even today, you can see some sort of shadows of this kind of thinking that if you don't know about Sami culture, so if you have seen too many white reindeers, so how can you make wise decisions concerning Sami people? You have to know the culture. And unfortunately, for example, in Finland, every time I go to Helsinki, I'm amazed at how little people really know about us and our culture. So if you are making laws and decisions, that can be a dangerous situation. And I think this is one of the good reasons to emphasize that it's important that Samis make their own films, tell their own stories, their own histories, and try to spread some adequate and valid information about Sami culture, so there wouldn't be this kind of confusion, and people slowly would start to understand what's happening in the north. So I think this is it, and so Anne-Laila will bring this story to this day, and we will see if there's happens something. I thank you for your attention.
Yeah. So from Jorma's presentation and the films from 60 years from here. So what has happened in this time travel? Where are we now? And it's if you look at what has happened the recent years, we have of course Pathfinder that you will also have the possibility to see here today as one of the big, representing one of the big changes to this tradition, because it was a Sami director, Nils Goep, who wrote the film, and he fought for years to get funding for it. Nobody believed in a Sami feature film, and Nils Goep is also talking about how they, under the production, all the team members, they were wearing Sami clothing because it was very cold, always -40. And everyone should wear the Sami shoes, the reindeer shoes, because they were walking in the snow and they don't make any sound. And so this film, of course, represents a change, and it still today it has a big importance for the filmmakers of today. So Nils Goep, with the Pathfinder and the success of it, he really walked the path for all of us coming after him. So we want to jump from the white reindeer until today, or last year. We did a series of short films. We called it the 7 Sami Stories. Some of the filmmakers are here in this room. Elle-Maria, Silja, Odd Levi, they have been part of it. It was the thought behind the 7 Sami Stories was to do something together, to come out stronger, to make a statement and show the talent that is there. I wanted to show you a clip from one of the short films. It's called Hilbespiga. It's the director is Maria Bolnangu. She has traveled a lot with this film, also by herself. Of course, the 7 Sami Stories have also been screened a lot, but this film is now, I think it's going to Uppsala Film Festival in Sweden. And what is interesting, of course, is that all of these films, the new generation of Sami filmmakers, they represent the contemporary films. They tell the stories from Sapmi today, and how we want to express reality through fiction, and these are our stories. And it's of course interesting if you compare to this woman from the White Reindeer and see the female characters in this movie and where we are today. So let's see if this works.
Både sporten dig och Sami, men det lägger län och var i hela kvadrat i så.
Would you show me your tits?
Man mår så.
You still at the toy was since the toy but me see the hype behind me. What she says to the this see I got line the end. Men jag sa till det this in line och push it chock and the ball och se driften sin toy wood. Ha.
Målen samlas, många var hela yo, läsa mellas. Civilistisk kyltorg, what you do to me nu?
Kan du ha slutsett? Give way for the kings of fire, shut up, I will suck it up for you, swallow it down for you.
Maikon Japanese. Tappo kalkallekin fiesta ja tohtu muihtiasti saadi. Oletko?
Onko meiltä festi?
Saanko huolka?
Work! Come on, twerk! No, come on! Nice. Joo, not for Mikä voi komma? En bara festin.
Bara.
Vi var ofta 26 i mitt twerk.
Joo.
Vad skönt, det var snålt.
So it's of course it's a long travel, and I think it's as Jorma says here also that the film tradition, if you look in the Nordic countries, when it comes to the Sami themes, it is well, the beginning is the White Reindeer and those films, and of course it represents also that time, but we have it with us, and that is why we also need our own story. These are the stories we need to tell. We need to express our own reality, and we need these talents to get the same possibility to tell their stories as any other filmmaker in the Nordic countries. So this is what we are working for at the Sami Film Institute. We are trying to build up under this talent, and we're also trying to get funding for feature films and TV series on a Nordic level. I know that many of the film makers from the 7 Sami stories, they are now working on bigger productions, feature films and TV series. So hopefully we will get there. It's a lot of work to convince the politicians, both the Sami and of course, but also at the national level, of course, to get the understanding that it is we also need to have this space, and we need to claim this right to tell our own stories. It's not just about the film, the result, the film that you're watching, because this film is I can see very much of Maria, a young, strong Sami woman, telling this story, represented by these 2 characters here. So it's also important, in my opinion, to think about who is behind the camera, who is the director, who is the writer, what kind of stories are we telling, based on who is behind, who is in the team. So that is why we at the Film Institute, we are very concerned about this. Who are the filmmakers? And we are supporting only the Sami filmmakers. We ask them to, if we were going to give grants, then we ask that 2 of the 3 main roles in the production team should know Sami language or should have some kind of connection to the Sami culture. So it's also important to look at who is behind the camera. That's our opinion, and if we do that, then we can also build up an industry that is based on our own culture and our own language, and we are the ones to define our own reality, not the white reindeer people or anyone else. And actually, I don't know, Jorma, if you have heard about it, but I heard that they are doing a remake of the white reindeer.
Well, they have planned.
Or they are planning at least.
Planned it for the last 10 years, and they are even planned to make it a sort of Hollywood production. I would love to see Isabella Rossellini as Romans have it.
And that is also like part of the picture, because we are, of course, the Sami Film Institute and Skapmagova, and we are doing what we can to nurture the new generation of Sami filmmakers. But we see examples of, for example, there is a very, very big TV series production going on in Sweden. I think they are just done. It's called The Midnight Sun. It's a crime series and a huge budget, and the one of the main characters is Sami, but it is not a Sami actor. It's a Swedish actor. He's like 2 meters tall and red hair, and so it doesn't look very typical Sami. But and also there's another example from Sweden, Hälsning out from Midsommartrask. It's this Swedish woman going to Sami and falling in love with this reindeer herder, and the reindeer herder, the actor is he's a very, very famous Swedish actor called Ola Rapace. So somehow those are examples of how this tradition we are talking about, it's still there. That is what we are building upon, or that's what we are fighting against. Because these images, they are still there, they are existing at some level. And as long as there is no balance, that we have the same possibilities to tell our own stories as we want, and others can come with hundreds of millions of budgets, and like taking the candy from our culture, the best stories, telling about the shaman and the very, very best stories, and twisting it in a very commercial way, of course. And then that creates a big challenge for us when we get there and we have the competence and we have the funding to go out there and tell our own stories. Then a lot of the best stories have already been told because someone else took the. So it's a lot of politics in it. In this, it's in my opinion, when it comes to preserving culture, strengthening the culture and the language, and especially when it comes to the young people, the children, I think that not only for the Sami people but for all indigenous peoples, I think film and media is one of the strongest mediums there are today, because we all live in a digital time with iPhones and iPads, and so we need to be present there. If we are not present in this medium, then we don't exist for our culture doesn't exist for our children. Our language is not as cool as the other languages. So it is so important, and I also think it's when we think about our history of assimilation and oppression and all these things. I remember when Pathfinder premiered in Kautokeino at the Cultural House. I remember Nils Goep was there, and Mikkel Goep, the main actor with his beautiful blue eyes, was there, and me and my cousin, we dressed up with kaktis, and it was in the 80s, so we had big hair and a lot of hairspray, and we went there, and we were so excited. We had never seen a Sami movie before. So we went to the Cultural House, and we sat there, and Nils Goep and Mikkel were also in the audience, and it was so amazing, this feeling of seeing yourself up there in such a big screen, and hearing your language, seeing your people, your clothing, everything, and it made you. I still remember this feeling of how proud I was, how it was, and after the screening we went out, and outside the cinema there came this local journalist, and he wanted a picture of this our new movie star Mikkel Goep, and me and my cousin, we were standing there with him, and he was holding around us, and so that was a very, very big moment. You know, only a 14-year-old can be amazed and have stars in the eyes, and it was amazing. And I really hope that our work can contribute to our young people having those experiences, to seeing themselves in a big screen, and it's a deep symbolism also in lifting up a Sami or any other indigenous story on such a big screen. Film is a very insisting media. It's so big, it's so huge, and we lift it from all the shame, all the oppression, all the silence, and we put it up there for the whole world to see. It's so important. Yeah. I think that's it.
So, if you have some comments or questions.
I noted on the Seven Sami Stories website that you had up, it looked like we may need a password. Is there any way that we can get at these and take a look?
It's playing tomorrow, so come see it there first, and then. But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, we can. Well, I think we have a policy on that. If it's like a distributor or a festival, or that could be possible, but you would have to talk to the Odd Levy is here, one of the producers, sitting behind you, so you can have a talk with him. Oh. Yeah.
Can I ask what you think about Basel?
Basel?
Yeah.
The feature film. Well, I don't know if I'm very objective to talk about it. I was part of this production in the team, but
the reason I ask is because there's been some debate about whether or not it should be treated as a Sami film.
Yes. Well, that's an interesting question, actually. Well, my father was the producer, and Lars-Göran Pettersson was the director and the writer. And he's not a Sami, but he lives in Kautokeino, in our village, and he's been living there for a long time. But this film would probably not get funding from Sami Film Institute today if it came. It would need to have a stronger Sami presence. So, yeah.
What's the, I mean, often we hear that indigenous films have more interest outside of their home countries. Is that true for your home countries? I mean, true for Norway, Sweden, and Finland at the very least. And I know these films have played in Scandinavia, and what was the reception to them?
They have, yes, the Seven Sami Stories have traveled quite a lot. They've been all over Scandinavia and New Zealand and France and Italy, Portugal. Now they are premiering here in Canada. my impression is that there has been quite a good interest in Scandinavia also, but generally I would say that maybe the international interest somehow is bigger. Or what do you think, Jorma?
Yeah. During the last
Yeah.
5 years, I think the interest has grown quite strongly, because there are different phases in the development of Sami film. So in the beginning we had this big blast, Pathfinder, the Oscar nominee and everything. But after that we had a quite silent 90s. There was practically only one director, Paulus Sima, who made Sami films on a regular basis. And then at the turn of the century, the increase in film education and lighter equipment, video equipment, and our own festivals, they create a new new kind of wave. So new generation rose up to make films, and more independent small production companies rose. And then after the founding the Sami International Sami Film Center, nowadays Institute, the development has been quite rapid because of the film lab and all this workshop working. So I think we are living quite strong time at the moment. So speed is getting faster now.
I was in China for 3 weeks ago, and there were a really big response kind of yeah. And there are now 3 of the 7 Sami stories. 3 of the films is touring in China right now, and there were people who were like, wow.
I can try to answer that question. I think it's maybe harder to reach the audience in Norway with Sami films than internationally, I think, because when we worked with Bonke, the first short film that I was producing with Silja Zombie as director, I almost have to fight to get to have this premiere at the 6th of February with the local cinema in Tromsø, and they didn't believe that so many people came to the screening. We had 200 people and people standing behind, and after that screening, this like manager of this cinema she's like, every time I meet her now, yeah, just tell me about next project, come to us and show the films. And it was like I changed. Also, I think she changed a little bit.
But you were also fighting with the 7 Sami stories.
Yeah, yes, of course,
Yeah.
and with these 7 Sami stories, because we had the world premiere at the Tromsø International Film Festival, and we was asking each other, shall we try to get the biggest sal? What's that?
Cinema.
Biggest cinema, also biggest room in the cinema.
500 seats.
600 feet,
yeah.
and seats. And we was like talking with the festival, and they didn't believe. Like we have to. Yes, we want that cinema. We want it. We had to we had to fight to get the biggest one, and of course we had a full.
Sold out, and we have to show
it
films
was
again
sold
on
out.
Sunday.
So just
It was
1 week.
Yeah, it was the first program at that festival that sold out like 2 days after they put out the tickets online. So the 7 Sami stories have really been a success in so many ways. It was a big collaboration, and it really made a statement with those films. It's,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anna, did you have it?
So you mentioned a little bit about funding and support for the projects that you're doing and how that has varied, but also how it's developing right now. Could you talk just a little bit about that? I know there's been some very positive developments recently with Norway, but I also know that funding levels differ across all of Sápmi, the transnational region, from Russia to Finland to Sweden to Norway.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I can start with acknowledging the Sami Parliament in Norway, because without the support of the Sami Parliament, we would not be standing here. We would not have the 7 Sami stories. They have been supporting us from the beginning, and increasing the operational budgets from year to year, and we are very, very grateful for that. And then we are working very, very hard to get the increased funding from the national, from the Department of Cultural Affairs, especially in Norway. Our strategy is that we want Norway to give the first fundament for the feature film and TV series, and then it's easier to get Sweden and Finland on board. So I am lobbying a lot. I am at the Norwegian Parliament at least once every month, and I'm talking to all the political parties and trying to convince them how important this is. We need the feature film funding, and you have to be on board. And actually, the Norwegian government, they gave out this film melding, film, their strategy for the film politics. So, and there they are stating that the Sami Film Institute should have the possibility to give funding for feature film and TV series. So now they have said it. So now it's just for us to push them and really make them do it. And then we are also working on the Nordic level. We are going to the Nordic Council now in end of October. Nordic Council is like the political council for all the Nordic countries, and they have lifted our institute as a they are discussing it there, and the cultural department there is have lifted up the case, so it will have a final decision there at the Nordic Council meeting in October. And we will of course be there and meeting all the political parties before. We have got 10 minutes with each of them, so we will try to convince them to support us. So if we get that funding from the Nordic Council and Ministry of Nordic Council, that will of course mean a lot, and it will also give our case a political platform and weight. So it's I think we are doing well. I think, but it's a lot of fighting. But we know where we're going, and we're just going there. And but of course, in that because it's like two processes going on. It's like to get the institute established with good funding, but then at the same time we need the good films in order to convince the politicians and make the world understand why this is important. So there is another very good movie. You should go and see it. It's screening here. When, Storavarri? Saturday. That's also one of our new directors. She has been to film school in Denmark, and she did this short film, Storavarri, and it was the first Sami short ever to screen at Sundance Film Festival this year. So such a big achievement for us. And she has now actually shot her first feature film based on that same story that will premiere next year. So so things are really happening very, very fast. And we just have to try to follow all these talents and try to get the funding in place. So when they are coming up with their good stories, we have the first funding to push them further. Yeah.
What is the history of your institute? How did you get that established?
Well,
it
started. We had a film festival in Kautokeino for many years. And I remember we had one seminar each year at every festival, and it was we need a Sami film center. So that was like how it started for us there in Kautokeino. And then we applied. We made like the application for the Department of Cultural Affairs in 2008, and then we got our first funding in 2009. Yeah, and then. What is also interesting is that how fast it has grown, because we started with 1.5 Norwegian crowns. How much would that be in Canadian?
200,000.
Yeah, 200,000 Canadian dollars. And then last year we had like almost 8 million for the film project. So it's the funding for the films is increasing very, very fast, and I think it's because we can show to results. Yeah, there are some good films coming out, and that's why the activity is also supported more and more.
All right, unfortunately we have to wrap up, but just want to remind you guys that Sami Spotlight 2, Pathfinder is playing today. Tomorrow the 7 Sami Stories is playing. Storyveri and Sarah Margaretta's film is also playing as part of the Tradewinds International Shorts program on Saturday. And Sunday we have a curated program by Jorma, who's one of our guest programmers this year, and it's a program of short films from the early 90s to 2014 to present. So that's a fantastic overview again of Sami cinema over the last 2 decades. So thank you very much again. That was